Hi, everyone. From me, Brent Graham, Thursday night, 9 o'clock. We've got a long weekend ahead of us, and it's going to be a long, long weekend for us rugby punters because plenty of rugby to talk about. Lots to cover on tonight's show. We've got both Super Rugby tournaments that we're going to talk about. We've also got the Heineken Champions Cup and the Challenge Cup matches we'll touch on. We're not even going to chat tonight about the Varsity Cup, but I'll see about putting a video together for that over the weekend because that gets going on Sunday as well. But I've got two guests in the studio or in their studios to join me for tonight. One of them, I'm going to speak to him first because I understand he's been potting since early in the evening and I want to get him while he's still coherent. It's the conductor. Conductor, welcome back to the show, man.
Thanks, Brent. It's always good to join you guys. Yeah, absolutely. I got an early start on the Easter weekend. Obviously, booze is sort of banned for the weekends from buying, so I thought I could get some booze early in. But yeah, absolutely wall-to-wall rugby this weekend from tomorrow morning till Sunday evening. So it's going to be a great weekend.
That certainly is. And joining us for the first time in quite a while, the time zones don't normally suit him, but I got a message from him earlier this week that says, Brent, please, there's got to be a spot on your show Thursday night to talk European rugby. So it's good to have the European rugby man himself on here. Brady, great to have you back on the show.
Thank you very much, Brent. Well, good to see you. Good to see you, conductor. Good to be back on the show. Yeah, as you said, I was checking. It's been like 7 months now. I haven't been on the show, but yeah, time zone not helping. You know, I have a small child to put to bed every evening, and that's the duty first, and then the show. So with the time zone changed, the time changed last weekend. So now I can be back in business.
Excellent. Well, great to have you on and look forward to having you on future shows as well. Tonight, I'm going to feature the prices of world sports betting, but as usual, guests can comment on any bookmaker they want. The aim out there is to get the best deal for the punter. And welcome to the boys in the live show. Dino just commenting that they got involved in the NRL this morning. I'm sure Hein Demont was involved on that. And like a few of the boys on the Good for the Game forum appear to have got off to a cracking start to the weekend. So yes, boys, you got plenty of ammo for the weekend. But let's get stuck straight into the action. We've got a Super Rugby Aotearoa. I've got the outright odds scrolling down below there. I'm not going to mention them unless either of you gents want to highlight something. But conductor, I'm going to start with you the first game. We've got the Crusaders minus 20.5. I handicapped this game myself at 13.5. So I was leaning towards a punt at 18.5, which is where the cap came out. But I must admit, when I saw the Highlanders team, there's been discipline issues there and that. I started leaning far more towards the Crusaders camp. Minus 20.5, I don't see it changing much from that between now and kickoff.
Yeah, Brent, it's a tough one. I think it opened at about 16.5 at the SA books after the Joshuani house party. It obviously now lengthened with a couple of the boys being stood down for discipline issues. It's a tough one. It's tough to sort of back the Highlanders in this respect. A couple of new guys coming in. How do you back the Highlanders with a bit of a scant team against guys like George Bridge, Will Jordan, Havili, Mwanga coming in? I can definitely see that the Crusaders smoking by 21.5 here or 22. It's a tough one. I don't think I'd back the Crusaders on the cap. I'd probably go. I saw the Crusaders points is now out of 37.5. I'd probably go to 37.5. I know it's high, but I don't know. Or probably Highlanders unders there. It's a tough one there. I don't know. It's like I can't back the Highlanders in that situation. It's a very sort of hamstrung squad in my respects. Probably minus 22.5 is a play for me.
Yeah, I think Pickrell's the referee, if I saw correctly on the forum. I know the boys do like unders when he's on the whistle, so under 54.5. I saw Chief. Sorry?
It's Mark Fraser for this game.
Oh, it's a Fraser. I'm mixing up the games. But yeah, 54.5. I suppose it's a pretty high quote, although there is a danger, I suppose, that the Crusaders run away with this. Just a hello to all the boys in the live chat. Mark coming in there, and at the Crow Tips also joining us. And he's been in fine form the last couple of weeks, so hopefully he'll throw a couple of tips our way as well. Let's go down to Brady, though. Brady, any thoughts on the Super Rugby? I know your focus has been on Europe.
Yeah, well, on that game, the first thing I would like to say is that I'm a bit surprised that the handicap didn't move that much after the news that 6 players will be out. I was expecting, the handicap to kind of, lift quite a lot. So I wonder if the bookmaker were not already aware that, that there was some disciplinary issue with the lenders, because that type of news, normally you've got a handicap move of 5 or 6. So quite surprised about that. Now that says, you look at the team sheets and you look at, The Islanders missing quite a lot of players. Their backline, I mean, Scott Gregory is playing, and I know Conductor is going to laugh about him, but and Mitch and at 10, at Flyers, that doesn't sound good to me. I think 20 is well set up, 54 is quite set up. The move that I made on that game is the over 16.5 points halftime for the Crusader. I think they're going to start the game fast, and I think they're going to score 2-3 tries at least first half, and then they're going to rest. Second half like they normally do. So that's my move on that game. The rest, I think 54 and 20 handicap. It's well set. Can't do any move on that.
Yeah, I can tell you what I did in the Good for the Game on the Good for the Game website in the preview there. I went for the Crusaders second half handicap, -8.5, and it was about 8 to 10 at the time. I haven't checked to see if there's been any movement there, but I looked at that Highlanders bench and I thought I can't see them living with the Crusaders. But I also share the conductor's reservations about the handicap a bit because conductor, the Crusaders are one of those teams. They sometimes step off the gas a bit. They get sort of 3 or 4 tries up and then they sort of step off. So I share the reservations with you there. Just want to add one thing. You talk about a house party. These days in South Africa, when the teenagers have a house party, they call it a chill. So my daughter has a chill with some friends. Let me tell you, when I message to the neighbors, I tell them, don't let the word chill fool you. It's anything but a chill. And I think that's what must have happened at Josh Ione's place there. But let's move on to the next game now. We got the Blues up against the Hurricanes. This is Saturday morning, I think, South African time. This handicap, Brady, has come in a bit. We had it opened at 8.5, and it's come into 6.5. So a bit of money for the Hurricanes there. And as far as I can tell, punters are quite divided on this one.
Yeah, and I understand why. I think it's not one to read. The Canes have been fantastic recently, especially Jordy at fullback, scored more than 30 points last game. Amazing. And on the other end, the Blues, you've got the feeling that since the last time against the Crusaders, they are back to their old style, like 2 or 3 years ago, where you couldn't trust them. So that one is a bit tricky. Once again, I'm more an over and under punters, and I know the ref seems like to be an under punter, but when I look at Jordy Barrett, he can score from anywhere. I've been told by a friend of mine that the Blues coach told them that if there is a 3-pointers to be taken, take it. So and with the back line of the Blues, I can see points. I know the ref is not really another ref, but my move is going to be probably on the over on that game. I'm just checking the forecast last minute, and I'll make a move on that.
Excellent. Yeah, it is difficult. I always struggle to go unders in these New Zealand derbies because some of them can be low. I mean, we had the Chiefs Blues game last week was low, but it was really the exception. And quite frankly, even if you've gone low and make money, you're probably going to have nervous moments during the game because those guys really do throw the ball around. Let's go up to the conductor and get his views on this one.
Yeah, Brent, I agree with you. It's always tough going unders on a Kiwi derby because that basically in any 20-minute segment, they can actually throw the ball around and score a couple of points there. Especially Hurricanes, they love to, Dane Cole's in the wing, Riasi, they love an open game. It actually suits them rather than a closed game. And with guys like Auburn Nedge at 10, they're not going to be suited towards a more kicking style of game to sort of try and gain territory. The Blues have been disappointing. That being said, the Chiefs had to win it in last minute last week. I just don't see the Hurricanes living with 3 All Black props, starting Carl Tuinofiaki, Ufa Tufingasi. They've got too much power.
Very well pronounced after a couple of beers. I'm pretty impressed there, man.
Wait until I get to Dalton Papa Ali'i. But no, I think there's too much power in the. What disappoints me about the Blues, they don't actually use the forwards' power. They actually discount and they try and use their backs, which is a bit of a strange one to me. But finally, what I've asked to happen for so many weeks has actually happened. TJ Fayani has gone to 12. Harry Plummer has been like a cock-flavored lollipop. He has just been so useless at 12. You don't want him there. Just rather flush him out. TJ Fayani is far better. I think they wanted to do the 10-12 pivot where they've got a fly-off and another fly-off at 10 and 12. But, that hasn't worked out for the Blues. Terry Black, he is what he is. But TJ Fayani is much better at 12. I'd much prefer that Blues side with Robinson, Papali'i and Satu'u at the loose trio combination, and Sam Nock at 9. That's far more solid to me. Back home at Auckland, I'm leaning on the minus. I see what guys are saying +6, but I'm quite bullish on the -6.5 here. I think the Blues pack is far too big for this Hurricanes side. I think they should bully them. Look, the thing with the Hurricanes, have always got these danger men with guys like Goosen or Goosen, however you want to pronounce it. Julian Severe with hands like...
It's ironic that you get the only South African name in the squad wrong and you can pronounce all the New Zealand ones.
Look, they've got incredible danger men in that side, but I just, I thought they were fortunate last week to come back against a poor Highlanders side, but I think Liam McDonald would have rung the bowl this week. So listen, guys, we really need to step up if we want to catch the Crusaders. I think it could be by 10+ here. So I'm very happy at the -6.5, and I'll take the Blues in mini multis.
Excellent. Well, a bit nerve-wracking for me that, because for once I've gone against the Blues. Not that I was really on them last week. I was actually on the overs, so I lost on the game. But I looked at this and I kind of echoed, I think, what Mark's saying here. If I read him correctly, Blues coming off losses to Chiefs and Crusaders, he can see a Hurricanes performance. And I'm with you. I was quite impressed with the Hurricanes against the Highlanders. And I've got a feeling that this is the sort of game, I just see the Blues falling into those old habits and I can't bring myself to back them. So I took the 8.5 winner, and I actually got the preview up quite early because I did foresee some line movement here. Although based on the sentiment of a lot of punters out there, I wouldn't be surprised if the line actually moves back out to 8.5 there. So we'll just have to see. Mark just making the point there. Well done, conductor. Your pronunciation's better than his. I can tell you it's better than mine. But you remind me of me many years ago at the White Horse Inn in Johannesburg. I had a couple of beers and played pool, and after 2 or 3 beers, I was at my best. But then after 5 or 6, I was a bit suspect. So we won't talk to you in an hour's time about those same names. But anyway, it should be a good game, Matt. But let's move on to the Aussie version of the game. Just to mention, I have got Couch Critics bets. I've got a summary of his bets that we'll bring up at the end of the show as well. He couldn't be here tonight. He's away with his, if I could say, fairly new girlfriend for the weekend, and there's all sorts of betting markets on whether he proposes. I think he's taken it down to Cape Town, so we'll have to see. Couch, don't let me down, mate. I took a bit of the 2-1. You dropped to 1 knee this weekend. So please come through for me. I'll scroll the Super Rugby AU outright betting. It's a bit more of a contest. We've got a 2-horse race with the Rebels sort of lurking around at 8-1. But conductor, let's start with you. Another big handicap to begin the weekend. Waratahs +20.5 against the Brumbies. Waratahs, of course, well, I know they fired their coach. I'm not sure that they've appointed a new coach yet, though.
Yeah, Brent, it's another tough one to try and sort of make heads or tails of. Rob Penny out. I think it's a bit unfair on him. He was given a completely inexperienced side and expected to make wonders of the side. I think it's tough on him. Maybe he hasn't done the best of it, but what can you do when you've lost so many players to overseas? Got an incredibly young side in a conference where you're playing Reds, who are very settled, Brumbies are very settled, Force who have brought in heaps of Argentinians and experienced players. I feel he's got the wrong end of the stick there. I actually feel in that game, it's a tough handicap. It's big, hey. In Aussie stakes, it's a big handicap. The Waratahs didn't look like scoring in a brothel last week, but this week I might take 11-1 Waratahs just as an interest on the board. I feel that with Jake Gordon back, I think they may have a bit of a resurgence. There may be that sort of kickback towards Rob Penny being fined, but Brumbies should do them on the board there. But I'll take Waratahs on the board 11-1, and I also like Waratahs over 15.5. I know it's probably going against convention. They were incredibly poor last week against the Reds. They didn't look like scoring much, but I just got a feeling they might just have a bit of a kickback towards all the news and the sentiment going against them this week.
It's going to be very interesting. I know, like, for example, often when an English soccer coach gets given the axe, the next week the players lift their game, because often when a coach is axed, it's because things aren't right in the dressing room to begin with. And I'm not sure that is actually the case here at the Waratahs. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be one of two things. It's either going to be a bit more of a gutsy performance by them, or they're going to get absolutely blown away by the Brumbies. I do like your over 15.5 points. And in fact, I quite like the over 51.5 points, because I do think we're going to get a situation here where the players are going out there and saying, we don't really have anything to lose at this point, and they might just toss things around a bit. So if conditions are right, I might be looking overs in this game. Let's go to Brady. Get your opinion on this one, Brady.
not much to say, to be honest with you. OC Derby, the Water have been rubbish, so far. But that's it. A lot of player left, a lot of player injured. I mean, that's the way it is. And unfortunately, the coach has been sacked. So what do you expect tomorrow? No coach. Alf, a very young team. I don't know what to expect tomorrow. I think I'm going to put probably, beer money on Fainga first try score. I think I've seen 6-1 on some, bookies in Europe. I might just put, that and maybe another bet, on try scorer, but that's it. I'm not going to spend money and time on that game.
Okay, well, I want to just mention Joey Wallace coming in, and he mentions a European bet. We'll get to that later, but I want to mention him for one reason. He posts on the forum. And last week I was having an absolute nightmare. I actually tipped all of Friday's games, but never got heavily involved because I had work. And then also Blues, I was on overs. I can't even remember what, but every bet I was taking was a loser last week. And I was literally tilting, like I was chasing. I was angry, and I logged on to the Good for the Game forum, and he tipped Glasgow over 26.5 points. And I flew in with what I can honestly describe as a bit of a reckless bet. Now, I mean, I don't even know Joey, but he came on the forum with this bet, and I climbed into it. Then I realized the game wasn't even televised. I was so upset. I then went on another bet, and I followed on the Exeter Chiefs, not one of his ones. The Bristol Bears, I think it was, points. Anyway, both bets ended up landing. Glasgow in the end scored 39 points, so well done on that one. It absolutely saved my weekend, and somehow I managed to turn a profit from there. So I just want to mention that. Thanks for posting that on the forum. I'll be looking out for your picks, and we'll talk about your European one in just a little while. Let's move on, though, Brady, and we'll stay with you to the Rebels against the Reds. This opened plus 5.5 Rebels. I quickly got the Good for the Game preview out, and I actually went Rebels on the board. I can't remember the price I got. Somewhere around 90 to 10, 2-1 probably.
I think 70 to 10, Brent, yeah.
Yeah, they're in probably around there now. And then against the Reds on the handicap line has come in here, Brady. We got 3.5 at the moment.
Yeah, so I did an early move on that one. I took the plus 1.5 Monday when it went out, especially based on the news that the Reds were stuck and had issue with training. I've seen some pictures that they didn't have any training gear even. So I think that's been a complicated week for them. And the Reds, they can't, I don't know why, but you look at the historical, games and everything, they struggle a lot against the Rebels. And I think Rebels at home with Matt Tomuna being on fire, kicking from everywhere on the pitch. I think, the Rebels could win that game, but I've been, a bit conservative there, and I took the handicap. So for me, the Rebels could win the game, but even the 3.5, I think it's a good move on that game.
Yeah, handicap probably why I played at 46.5 points as well. Conductor, you done anything on this? I don't know why, but I've just got such a strong feeling for the Rebels this weekend.
Yeah, no, I agree with Sebastian Chabal there. I think the Reds.
Ooh.
He has to take his shirt off to prove it.
We are in France. You speak French. We speak French in France.
Yes.
So no, I definitely agree with Brady there. Louis, look, I think the Reds have been interrupted in their week. I saw that to be loan kits by the Waratahs. Rebels at home. If I look at the past couple of fixtures, the Melbourne Rebels should have won the game against the Reds in Brisbane, if I'm correct. Matumua should have stopped that kick. He didn't. After that, the Reds had a very tough game against the Brumbies. Very tough game against the Force. Easy game against the Force. Sorry. I'm mixing it up here. But 3 games that are taxing on them, where the Rebels have had a break now. I fancy them. They've lost their wing. The Rebels have lost their wing. I can't remember who it is, but yeah, that's it. So yeah, but other than that, I fancy the Rebels at home. Wrestle side, I like Reece Hodge with that boot. He's always from 50, 55 meters out, an option for 3-pointers. So, I took the 0.5.5 and 0.6.5 on the Rebels. I'm happy with that. I'm happy to take them on the board. I think it's a hell of a trip for the Reds. They know that they're at home to Brisbane now. They've actually been focusing now. entire week they weren't sure whether they can travel on home or not to Brisbane. Sorry, yes, am I right, correct? So whatever, to Queensland because of the quarantine. But it's just been noticed they can. So I think they'd be more focused on that. So I'm very much on the Rebels on the board here and the plus.
Right, so Rebels, they're just looking at the points here. I mean, I think one of the things that surprised me about the Rebels, I can't remember, I think it was their last game, possibly against the Force, where they didn't take the points. Up until now, they've been taking all the points. They suddenly stopped, and it nearly backfired on them. So I'm expecting them to go back to taking 3-pointers. And for that reason, I do think that total points, if conditions are reasonable, and I haven't checked conditions yet, I do think that total points could be an overs play. Because I know Hendrick's also a great believer. You know, when they're taking the points early, you think, oh, well, we need tries for points. But you've got to keep that scoreboard ticking. Brady, anything else before we move on to Champions Cup?
I think the market is not out, but the penalties on the game. You know, in Europe, we've got a couple of bookmakers that are offering the penalties. I don't know about you guys in South Africa if you've got that, but if you've got a cut that is 3.5 or 4.5 with Hodge, Tomua, and what's his name, O'Connor, I think that would be a cracker bet on that. So I'll keep a look on that, and I'll post on the forum if I see the over penalties out.
Yeah, and I know not a lot of South African bookmakers do offer it. I know WSB, I don't know if they offer it on, I must check on Super Rugby Bay. They definitely wouldn't have it up yet, but they do offer it on certain games. So if there is going to be a bookmaker who's got it, then World Sports Betting will probably be the way to go there. But, gents, let's move on to the Champions Cup. I've also got the outright betting going out the bottom there. So if there is anything that catches your eye, just shout. But the first game of the weekend we're going to talk about, there's been a bit of money for Leinster already. I stand to be corrected. I think it opened about minus 11.5. And Joey coming on earlier, he was saying, if I remember correctly, that he liked Leinster. So Brady, take us through this opening game against Toulon.
So it's even open at 9.5. I think
9.5.
On what was it, Sunday night, I think. There's been a movement because, well, if you look at Toulon backline, they are missing their fly half. They are missing Manonu, even if Manonu, I think, is should retire from rugby. He's still an important player for Toulon. I mean, you look at the 10, 12, 13 from Toulon, it's ridiculous at this stage. Leinster, they just won, the Pro 14. They're home. They've got their full squad. That's going to be very tricky. The only thing that could save Toulon here is their pack, because they've got a monster of a pack. I think Leinster's going to win. I'm not a big fan of huge handicapping knockout stage. Let's be honest. The team, they're going to go for the 3 points, and the only thing that they have to do is to win, especially because the quarterfinal are next weekend. I might be looking at unders here. I've seen in some bookmakers that we had 47 or 48.5. I think that's quite high for a game, with Leinster and Toulon. So I might be looking at unders on the game or under Toulon, depending on the line. But 14.5, it's a tricky one. I think Leinster's going to do the job, but it's a bit too high for me.
Well, I'm a massive Leinster. Yeah, I'm a massive Leinster fan. I can tell you, I'm really impressed with them last week against Munster. Although initially I was in the Munster camp on the plus there. I think they're going to do the business here quite comfortably, but I might be looking for something like a Leinster points play. I don't know if I can bring myself to go unders in a Leinster game. I just always find they always look like they're going to score points. What do you think on this one, Conductor? We've got a line of about 13.5 at the moment and a total points line of 48.5.
Brent, it's a tough one. I don't think I'd touch the points line. I'd probably, I've taken Leinster minus 12.5, and I agree with Brady. It is a high handicap, and you actually don't want to be touching that in Champions Cup. Especially in the I think it's quarterfinals now. But Duncan Payawa at 10 for Toulon, Sergio Parise at 8, who's 37 years old, and Rudy Wolf at 13, who's also 37 years old. I'm not doubting their ability. I'm just saying that coming up against pretty much an international side, it's tough to sort of announce that Leinster side and pick out guys who couldn't make an Ireland side. They really cruise against Munster. I'm not saying they won't cruise against Toulon. I think Toulon will be a different killer fish. Swanenbaj, Etzebeth. They've got absolute monsters in that pack. I think they'll pose a different risk. I just think that backline is not the same as the Toulon of old with Johnny Wilkinson, the guys that were the absolute champions. But I'm happy at the 12.5 there. I just think Leinster's defence will pretty much win them that battle there. I think they'll know that they can't switch off. Last year or the year before, they won in the Pro 14 final, switched off against Saracens. I can't expect the same from Lancaster and Leo Cullen. I think they'll know they need to switch up, and that they've got an injection from a couple of Welsh internationals in their side that were rested. James Lowe and those kind of guys, and it's tough to see. It's tough to see Toulon keeping pace with these kind of guys. The way they cruised against Munster was a bit farcical. I don't think they'll cruise that way against Toulon. I think Toulon will be very, very physical. But I'm very happy on the minus 12.5, and I'll probably grab a minus. If you don't want to grab the minus 14.5, I'd probably grab a minus 8.5 in a multi.
Right, take a shorter price in a multiple. Darren Everett coming in on Facebook saying Leinster 1 to 12 at 74. Dino just pointing out, sorry, Dino, typo for me in the total points. I said Toulouse and not Toulon there. Mark making the comment that Toulon are not a fit side. Just want to bring up Chris's comment as well, because Brady also mentioned it about the big cap in the knockouts. I hear you guys, but funny enough, I don't mind the big cap in the knockouts that much. And the reason is because when a team's leading by 12 in a knockout, they'll still take the 3 points. Whereas in a group match, they tend to chase the try. And for the same reason we discussed the points earlier. So I'm not always opposed to that. And if I'll shop around, but if I can get 13.5, or which is currently there, but if I can get 12.5, I'll definitely be climbing into Leinster. What I do like here, and I haven't looked at the Leinster points, but I'm imagining based on the 48.5 that Leinster are somewhere around 30.5. And if the conditions are good, I'm happy to take Leinster over 30.5. They're a side that's delivered for me on the overs quite a few times before. That's the second of that's the first of the Friday night games. Let's move on to Gloucester up against La Rochelle, and let's start with you here, conductor. 5.5 at the moment.
Brent, I don't know too much about this game. Look, the only thing I can feel is going to be points here. Both teams look very open. Guys like Raymond Rule at outside centre for La Rochelle. As far as I understand about La Rochelle, it always sets up to run. They've got a mean pack. Victor Vito, Liebenberg in the list trio. They've got a sort of mean loose towards. Gloucester have been incredibly poor, but Gloucester have always set up to run the ball with wings like Johnny May and Louis Zamet. So my feeling there would be to try and take points over, right, as opposed to any handicap. I like the La Rochelle coaching team with the Irish coach there. I think he's done exceptionally well with La Rochelle. Gloucester with Skivington have not really done well. They scraped past the Ecstasy side last week, as Brady will know, and Neil mentioned now. I got a feel that probably the feel is to me is probably in the minus, but I'll probably take overs 46.5 is my feel.
Right, Brady, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, I'm same. I think it's hard to take the minus 5.5. I think La Rochelle should win the game. They won in Bordeaux. They've been amazing last weekend in Bordeaux, which is very hard place to win at. Their bench, I think they've got 4 international on the bench, so their bench is huge. But once I agree with conductor, I think this game smells points, even if it's a knockout. And normally, I will never go over in knockout stage. These games, I've seen Gloucester, Exeter. When was it? Last Friday. And Exeter came with a seaside, and the defense of Gloucester was ridiculous. And I think, La Rochelle will be able to score. And I think Gloucester with their backline, and they've got a couple of players back as well, I think they're going to score. I think I've seen a 4.5 tries, I think, or 3.5, I don't remember. That could be interesting. But points could be good. Jonah Gibbs and Ogar are doing a fantastic job for La Rochelle. So I will take, La Rochelle on the board if I had to take it, but not the best move. I think points here will be the right move.
Yeah, well, the Crow Tip's coming in and backing the points as well. I know it doesn't take much to get him on the overs, so he's very excited. I don't think he watches the show when Hendrik's on the show, because Hendrik's always on the unders. Anything else to add before we move on to the Wasps game there, Brendan? Right, let's move on then to Wasps. Brady, I'll start with you on this one. Wasps plus 4.5 against Clermont.
Once again, that game smells over, rather than going for the cap. You've got Clermont has been scoring points. I think they scored like more than 30 points in the Stade Francais, but their defense has been weak. Wasps' defense has been weak, but I think they've got quite a lot of players back, and when they start playing Wasps, the fast-paced game that they play, that could be trouble for Clermont. There's no line at the moment on that one, but if there is anything at 45 or 46.5, I think the weather should be great in Coventry. I'll jump on the over on that one. Wasp has been very disappointing, so if I had to take something on the Caps or on the burn, I will take Clermont because of the experience and things like this. But points first of all for me on that one.
That's the beauty about rugby betting. If you don't fancy the handicap or anything on the outright, points are where we love to get involved. And I must admit, points always be my bread and butter as well. Conductor, anything for you on the handicap here? Or are you also going to be looking and waiting for the points lines, which aren't out yet?
Yeah, Brent, they haven't released the team. Brady, if I'm correct, they haven't released the teams yet.
No, tomorrow, lunchtime.
So, it's difficult to sort of say who's going to be in there. But if a guy like Raka and Damien Pinot on either wing are probably heading for Clermont on the minus, Wasp has been very poor. But my main play would there probably be overs. I don't think Wasp are a defensive side. If you look at their past record for the past couple of weeks, they definitely haven't been a defensive side, and I can't see them trying to, do that for that home game. So we might definitely my play there. Be points over. I hope we can get a similar 46.5 there.
You'll be happy with an over. Let's stay with you, Conductor. A Munster plus 2.5 against Toulouse at home. Yeah, this one, of course, priced up, and there's quite a few close games we're going to be talking about. We've got a couple of bigger handicaps, and we're ending off with some really tight games. This is one of the close ones, plus 2.5. What are you doing here?
It's such a tough one, Brent. I love Toulouse. Obviously, one of my favorite sides, if not my favorite side in Europe. And I think they have nine. They have 9 players out. Peter Key. I saw Joe Takori is back in now, but. They've got a couple of players out, and I saw the guys from Munster saying they're really going to come out swinging. This is a massive game for them at home in Limerick, if I'm correct, it's Limerick. It's a massive game for them in Limerick. You got that sort of pre-loss feeling against Leinster sort of boost to them. It's an incredibly tough game. I honestly won't touch this game at all. Cheslin Colby can't win the game by himself with 9 players missing. He probably could, but obviously if he wanted to, because he's Springbok and he's won the World Cup by himself. But I don't know if he could hit by himself.
I wouldn't go that far. Brady, what do you think of this one? Is it? Conductor's not going to get involved yet.
That's a game to watch, not to bet on. That's the main thing. Those are two of my favorites team in Europe. Toulouse being the main ones, but I love Munster as well. So for me, it's very hard to bet on that. But as the conductor say, Toulouse is missing 9 players in the back line, which is quite huge. Dupont is not at his best at the moment. Colby, I watched his game last weekend, is not great at the moment. It's not the Colby that played a year ago. And Munster, after losing that final against Leinster, I think they're gonna be hungry for a win. Playing at home, if I had to take a bet here, Munster on the board even. That will be the bet, but yeah, I'm not gonna get involved there. No, you need to. But that's I think the game of the weekend. That's the must-watch game.
Right. Well, you can get about 13, 14 to 10 Munster there. But Brady, will stay with you for the next game. Exeter minus 14.5 against Lyon.
Once again, huge handicap. I think it's slightly high. I think Lyon, was poor few weeks ago. I think they are back in business, and they're gonna come with a huge back line. That's for sure. Trusova is on fire. Probably, Naikatasi is good. Kuyu is gonna be back with Wisniewski probably at 10. I think the team is gonna be good. But Exeter at home, they are. I think they could destroy. On Moles and Scrum, that could be a long day for a long afternoon for Lyon. So once again, I think that's a good game to watch. That could be a cracking game. I think I'm gonna go for an exotic one, and I think Jordan from Son of a Point is gonna agree with me. I'm gonna take a first try scorer being a forward. Normally you couldn't get it at 13-10 or 14-10. Exeter at home. I don't know if they're going to go for the 3, but if they go, they're going to go for mauls. They're going to go for penalty at 5 meters. They're going to try to go, and it's always the forward. So on that game, I think that will be my move, and then that will be a beer and game on the TV, and that's it.
All right, conductor, anything for you on this one?
Brent, so I agree with what Brady's saying there, and I think the forwards are going to dominate that game. I probably wouldn't take the -14.5. I'd probably take once again alternative handicap, maybe 9.5, 8.5 there on Exeter in a multi. I can't see Leon, even with guys like Nakataki and Joshua Tuasova living with Exeter. They're absolute monsters in that pick and drive. 15 meters out from the try line, they literally just pick and drive you to death. It's not great rugby, but it is effective, and they'll literally they won't look for anything else. If it's a penalty, 20, 30 meters out, they'll kick for the corner. They know what they've got the pack. So I can't expect Leon. I know Leon's pack is big, but Exeter's pack is just so cut into that pick and drive in the mud there in Exeter. So I'm very happy to take I'll take a -14.5 at maybe 1 or 2 units, but my big play will probably be -8.5, -9.5, and -9.5 in multi. And I like Brady's thing there. First try scorer by a forward.
Yeah, that's a nice one as well. It's a different interest. The only thing when I take a bet like that and there's a try in the 5th minute, even if I win, I then sit and go, what am I going to do for the next 75 minutes of this game? It's like winning a total point. Like when you take a team points and they arrive by half time, it feels great because you've won your money, but you think, I can't watch the second half without a bet, and you've got to get further involved. But also like that one, conductor will stay with you, 15.5, -15.5. The French Giants are the third favourites for the tournaments, Racing up against Edinburgh.
Brent, I'm not too sure to do. Yeah, I know that Finn Russell obviously is out because of that red card against the French. I'm not. I think Brady will explain more the 10 step in there. I'm not too sure of his pedigree, but guys like Vakatawa I think are too classy for Edinburgh. I'm not too sure on the minus here. I'll be honest, I won't be touching this game. I'd probably take Racing on a small minus, or just a 0.15 in a multi.
Yes, and Dino, he did post on the forum. Dino, I remember this post. He said, you wouldn't want to be a Scottish team playing away in France this weekend after last weekend, and I think that's a good point. Brady, what do you think here? 15.5, is it enough?
It's a bit too high for me. I would not go for Racing -15.5. Racing they're gonna go through. No worries on that. But they haven't been great recently. They lost in Bayonne last weekend. Game was not, the game they played was not great. Yes, they're gonna get few international back. Kamisha, the necklace hooker is back. Vakatawa is back. Russell is not going to be here, and that's going to be probably Guibert or Trinduc, playing. I'm guessing Guibert is going to be playing. I think, playing in the arena is something totally different. I need to look at the points here because, playing in the arena, it's the fast-paced environment. That could be a cracking game. Edinburgh, I watched the game against the Dragon. Rubbish the first half, but then they've been playing fantastic rugby on the second half. They've been scoring amazing try, and Racing defense has not been great. So I might look once again at points. That's points and tries. That's my bread and butter more than handicaps. But here I think 15.5 it's slightly too high, especially on once again knockout stage. I don't like those big handicaps. Yeah,
fair enough. I think points could be the way to go there. Chris Rowe doesn't expect Edinburgh to live with Racing there. Brady, we'll stay with you now. We've got a couple of close games to end off here. We've got Bordeaux just shading favouritism against the Bristol Bears. And I must say, I was on the Bears. And Dino, if I'm not mistaken, I actually followed you on this one last week after I followed Joey on the Glasgow points. And they delivered for me. They left it late, but they did deliver. Bordeaux here, slight favourites. What do you think here?
I think that's one of the toughest one to call this weekend. Anything can happen in that one. So I don't think I'm going to get involved at all in that game, not even in points or tries or handicaps. If I had to take something, I will take Bristol on the board. I think or Bristol by 1-12, because I think, none of the team are going to win by more than 12 points, that's for sure. Or either team by, 7 or less could be as well a good move. two fantastic teams. They've been playing fantastic rugby this season. That's the revenge from last year Challenge Cup semi-final. But Bordeaux at home, it's a different story. They are very hard to beat at Chabandelmas. So I would say almost, grab a beer, lie down on the sofa, watch the game and enjoy. And, there's going to be better moves to be to do this weekend.
Yeah. Listen, conductor, when you said grab a beer, he meant when you watch the game on Sunday. You didn't have to grab one at that moment.
I think from now till then, so I don't.
No. But he's right. There was a hidden message.
His English is not so great.
Conductor, are you going to be grabbing a beer in this game and having a bet?
No, I love Bristol there. Sorry, Brent. As I said, I'm honestly, I've never been a big Bristol fan, but I do actually like Bristol this weekend. The only thing is that I think they're missing Stephen Luatua. Nathan Hughes is back. Sheedy is there. I think the scrum off from the English side, not Andy Aaron.
Randall.
Yeah, Randall. He's back. So apparently he was supposed to have a big ankle injury. He's massively recovered. So him and Sheedy form a ridiculous partnership at 9 and 10. And Simi and Jandra, look, it's going to be a ridiculous game with Ben Lamb.
He's a legend, that guy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a fantastic game. But I'm all over Bristol there with no crowd in Bordeaux. I haven't seen the Bristol team, but I think Max Malins should hopefully be at 15. Brady, you don't
shaking his head, Brady?
I think he's injured, so he's doubtful for the game. I don't think he's going to be back.
Okay, but I still like Bristol there. I think you can get Bristol at better than evens in some places. So I like Bristol. Look, it's gonna be a cracker of a game. I just find there's a bit of value in Bristol. I think they're very well coached. My only concern with Bordeaux is that if I look at their schedule, I think they've only played 2 games in the past 4 or 5 weeks, 6 weeks. So that's my concern with them is that are they undercooked? Whereas Bristol are a little bit more hardened with a couple of the guys rested in the English side. So that's my only advantage to the Bristol side.
Right, well, Dino just making a point. He likes to go over 1.5 cards when certain refs are there. So they're just a reminder of how many different markets there are to play in the rugby. And the Crow Tips also liking points. But let's stay with you for the final Champions Cup game then, Brendan. We've got another close one here. We've got the Scarlets at home to Sale, and they narrow underdogs here. So we're almost talking choice game.
Oh, Prince, it's a tough one. I can't commit to anything. there. Look, I mean, you've got Sale, who literally the South African contingent with Aotearoa, Curvis, and Fuff, and Ryan Janssen van Rensburg. I see he's back in the mix against 9 or 10 Welsh internationals that'd be flooding back into Scarlets after a very successful campaign against in the Six Nations. They'd be buoyed by that. So it's difficult to say who'd be more up for it. I don't know. That to me is I just stay out game.
Grab a beer and watch this one, Brendan.
No,
grab a beer and watch
Sale. I think Sale to me, I'd actually go completely unders there. If you can offer me 48.5 or 46, 47, it's unders all day long. I mean, I don't think that score more than 20. It's going to be very attritional, very, very basham. 100%.
Ugly game potentially to watch. Brady, anything for you on this one?
Yeah, so that one, you don't grab a beer, you go to bed even. You don't even watch it. Straightforward. That's if there is one game that I don't want to watch this weekend in the championship, that's this one. Seriously, that one smells on there. Same. Give me a 48.5, and I'm granny's pension, the farm, everything. I'm putting everything on it. Everything. I see a rubbish game. I might be totally wrong, but I see that game being boring, being a kicking game. When Faf, I love Faf de Klerk, and don't get me wrong, but when Faf starts to, kick and kick and kick, and they're gonna do the same on the other side, and then the Dupre's family. I mean, God, for Dupre's on the. If Rob Dupré is playing 10, then I think I would almost put my money on Scarlett. I don't rate Rob Dupré as a fly half. I think he doesn't have the level for to play for a team like Sale. And as you say, it's gonna be a tough game, and I don't even want to watch it. So not being involved at all.
Okay, no, that doesn't. But the good news is there's plenty of Challenge Cup rugby on as well. And I haven't brought up the odds on the Challenge Cup. I don't think any of the games, I stand to be corrected, are televised on SuperSport, unfortunately. But of course, Brady, these are often the games where you can get the value because, look, it may be different this year that we're straight into knockouts now, but I know often in the past, team selection has been absolutely crucial for these Challenge Cup games. As certain teams, for example, decide to focus more on their domestic league and that sort of stuff. Like I said, I don't necessarily think that will be the case this year. But I'm going to run through the games and then, just either of you, when I mention the game, I'll check with each of you if you fancy anything. And the first one is Zebra against Bath. And here the handicap is 11.5 and total points 51.5. And Brady, I'll start with you.
Yeah, so I don't understand the movement on the Zebra, to be honest with you. So the handicap was 14.5, then suddenly moved to 11.5. I don't understand the movement on that. I'm going to wait a bit longer, but if the handicap goes below 10, I'm firing on Bath minus 9.5. Zebra, that Zebra squad is not strong at all. They're resting a lot of players. And, if you think that, if they don't put their A team, which is based on Italian international player, and you've seen Italy during the Six Nations, I mean, I know Bath is missing, a fly half and, the pair of center, but still they've got a strong squad. So I'm gonna wait a bit on that one. I've seen that you can have Bath over 30.5 points, and I think that one I really like because tomorrow in Parma it's gonna be 25 degrees. It's an afternoon game. I can see Bath, with their Rokanigu and Koganisa. I can see them running on Zebra and scoring, 40, 45 points like the Ulster, the Connards, and the Leinster have been scoring there. So I'll just be patient on that one. But if I had to take something now, Bath minus 11.5 every day.
Right. Conduct, anything for you on that one?
Yeah, I totally agree with their Brent. So look, I mean, both almost a couple of guys like Tom Dunn and they're not their full strength, but against I couldn't recognize that Zebra side. I don't think they're playing their strongest side. I'm very happy to take minus 7.5. And as Brady says, minus 10, minus 9, if you can get it. I think guys like Sam Underhill, be too strong there. Toby Falasar, I like their pack. Bath strength against I can't remember who played against London Irish, but they absolutely demolished them. I think it was maybe Newcastle. Yes, it was the absolute forward strength, and they absolutely were fantastic there. I can't see Zebra scoring, providing much resistance to that. Zebra like to frustrate sides out wide, but in the tight phases, Bath minus 7.5 is a gift.
Yeah, minus 11.5 here at the moment. Let's go stay with you, Conductor. London Irish against the Cardiff Blues. Here we got a handicap of it's virtually a choice game. This one we've got Cardiff Blues are actually slight favourites. I think there may have been some plus on Cardiff Blues earlier in the week. It seems to have come in now, and the points line's 47.5. Anything for you there?
Yeah, Brent. I think that open plus 5.5 Cardiff Blues. I think it's shortened to maybe evens or favourites to Cardiff Blues. I'm big on the Blues there. Call me Brennan, Reese, Davids, Williams, Jones this weekend. I love the Blues this weekend. When the price opened, I couldn't quite believe that it was actually plus 5.5 for Cardiff Blues. 6 Welsh internationals, full Welsh internationals, that played against France in the game. Very, very tough team. Well drilled defense. Dai Young is the coach. Not that I want to die young, but he's actually the coach. His name is Dai Young. Dai Young, I enjoy his. He was fantastic at Wasps. I love him at Cardiff Blues. The London Irish, as Neil from Thorsten Sports would point out, London Irish do have a big set piece with Creevy, Blair Cowan, these kind of guys. But on the plus, I was a big punter. I'd probably still take the evens at Cardiff Blues.
Right, Cardiff Blues there for you, Brady, yourself?
Yeah, I think the Cardiff Blues, early in the week, plus 5.5 was the right move. I think now people are a bit overreacting because I've seen in some, European bookmakers, Cardiff minus 1.5. I think that's that's becoming a bit too much. And on that one, I smell points at that one. The weather is great here. I'm 5 minutes from the stadium, so I will know exactly how the weather is. But I see those two teams attacking, a lot and scoring a lot. There's going to be no wind. It's going to be 10, 12 degrees. So, not very warm, but very good to play rugby. It's been dry all week long in the UK, so the pitch are going to be good. Depending on the line, if you have something around 44.5 or 45.5.
I've got a line for you on that one. I've got a line of 47.5 on points in that game.
Yeah, it's slightly high for me. Depending on the try, if you've got a 4.5 tries, might go with that. But yeah, I think the right move was Cardiff early in the week. Right now, probably some points or something like this, because Irish, they can't defend. They were like playing 15 against 13 versus Bass, and Bass managed to score 2 tries in the last minute of the game. But they can score now. London Irish can score, and Cardiff, they can score. Their defense is not great. So yeah, I can see an open game on here.
We'll stay with you, Brady, for the last of the Friday's games. It's Montpellier against Glasgow. Having a look here, we've got a total points line of 48.5, and a handicap, the home team here, Montpellier, -3.5.
Okay, so my main move here, but I haven't made a decision yet, will be the under on that game. I found that's very high. Montpellier at home this season, it's like an average of 40 points per game max. So 48.5, I think it's quite high. Yes, they've got some international players back, but I don't really like their starting line. So I think Glasgow could win even that game. So if I had to make a move and reduce a bit the stake on it, I would probably take Glasgow on the board. But I think Glasgow, if you've got Glasgow 4.5 or 5.5, then I think that's a good move on that game.
Right, you can get Glasgow sort of 14, 15 to 10. Anything for you on that one, Conductor?
Yeah, Brent, I agree. Almost Glasgow on the board there for me. That Montpellier sounds a bit weird with Johan Christen on the right wing. 30 internationals back for Glasgow. Yeah, I'd probably Glasgow on the board, and probably the unders as well. I think it might be a bit of a scrappy game. So you say there is a point line for that?
There's a points line 48.5, and just to mention, I see how quickly I was through the bookies. WSB have got 2-1 Glasgow on the board, which looks a big price.
I'd probably take unders there for me. I think it'll be very scrappy.
Well, we'll move on to Saturday's games then. We've still got a few to get through here. We won't have points lines for these, but let's start with you, Conductor. Benetton against Agen, and here we've got -20.5, the home team favourites. Gee, I don't think I've ever seen Benetton -20.5 for any game.
Yeah, but I think it speaks to the fact how bad Agen are. Agen have taken some huge losses. I think they took a huge loss last weekend. It all depends on I think Brady will elaborate. I mean, this is where his forte is in terms of French leagues. I don't understand quite the intricacies of the top 14, but I understand that Agen have been relegated. So they could potentially send a stronger side. But I'd still back a quasi international Italian team to beat Agen by more than 20. I think if you can't do that, you shouldn't be playing rugby. They've taken some huge losses. If I look at the history of Agen, they've taken some absolute beatings. So if you didn't want to take the -20.5, I'd probably take -14.5 in the alternative handicap with some other bets. But I do fancy the Benetton there.
Just a reminder, we will be sending out the best newsletter, looking for our 5th winner in a row. That'll go out tomorrow sometime. And no doubt, I think that the best bet is probably going to come from the European rugby, unless maybe I lean towards the Rebels on that one. But I'll be listening to the guys' fancies again and arriving on that. You can subscribe to that down below in the description box. Let's get your opinions on the Benetton game, though, Brady.
Let's start with a bit of background. So Agen, they didn't win any single game this season in their championship. And Treviso didn't win any single game in their championship this season. So that's the game of the weekend, the one you must watch, definitely. No, just joking. Seriously. So I've seen, not the team sheet is out, but Agen group is out. And Agen is going with a strong, with a good squad.
Standards.
I'm a bit surprised about the squad they're sending. So There could be some movement here on Asia, and the handicap might move, in favor of Asia. And if this is happening, then I think I'll be looking at points, Treviso points. I'm hoping, that the handicap could, drift to, 17 or 18, and then if you can get a Treviso over 35.5 or something like this, that would be my move on that game. I don't like those big handicap. I think, that could be a game finishing at 54-40. 94 points, no team defending. They don't care. This is the challenge. Treviso can't be relegated, but Agen is almost relegated to the second division in France. That could end up, at 7-3 full time or 54-40. I'm more hoping for the second one, and I'll be looking at points on that one. Treviso should win by 25 or 30 normally, because Agen is losing by 35 points every weekend in the top 14. But that said, Treviso is not, is not at the level of the French team, in the top 14. So I'll be very careful on that handicap, and I'll probably wait for the points.
Right, and there's so many games to choose from. If you're not sure about a game this weekend, you can certainly pause it over without giving up on anything. There's also, by the way, great cycling on Sunday. So watch for the forum for my bets. I hit a little 40-1 winner in the cycling yesterday, so coming in with a bit of confidence. Ospreys against the Newcastle Falcons. Brady, will stay with you here. We've got the handicap set at 5.5 points. It's Ospreys' favourite, -5.5.
That one, I think Ospreys will win the game. So I will take Ospreys on the board in a double. But the handicap, I'm not sure, because yes, Ospreys should bring back all their international players and get a strong squad. Newcastle is not in a good shape at the moment, but without team use, very hard to make a move in the Challenge Cup, because you don't know what to expect. Newcastle could do a massive turnover or bring their best squad. So I would say Ospreys on the board, double it with something else, and end off.
I see a bit of 5 to 10 at World Sports Betting. So if you're throwing that into a multiple, it seems like a pretty good price. The conductor, this one for you?
Yeah, Brent, I agree with what Brady is saying there. One must also remember that English teams still have a comp to go through, and I think the Pro 14 players have quite a gap. They've only got European competition until they got Rainbow Cup. So one must remember that these guys have 2 weeks competition, then they go back to the Gallagher Premiership, where Pro 14, they play this, and that's it. If they get knocked out, and that's it for them. So, I feel there's a lot more incentive for the Pro 14 guys to have a bit of a hard one, where Newcastle may not have the squad depth to have rotated as much as they would have liked. I like Ospreys. They've actually impressed me quite a bit, especially with their winning way against Connacht. They would have got back guys. I know guys like Owen Watkin would have been there for a while, but they would have got back a few Welsh internationals into their side, and I like the minus there against Newcastle.
All right, let's stay with you for the next game. Jules hasn't been on the show for a while that I've seen. Hopefully he's been catching the replays. He's a big Dragons fan. And Dragons here are underdogs against the Northampton Saints, and a +6.5 conductor.
It's a tough one, Prince. I'd honestly flip a coin there. I have no idea where to go. Dragons are so unpredictable. Like they're a very negative side. I don't know where the game's being played. I have a suspect feeling it's still been played in Cardiff and not in.
No, they're back in Rodney Parade.
Where?
They are back in their
Newport.
In Newport.
Okay. And then I'm honest. I haven't looked much at that game. If I don't even know the home ground there, to be quite honest. I won't touch that game. I can't touch Saints at all. So Hagen's unpredictable.
Well, Jules, right on cue. He's coming to the show. There's anyone notice Dragons have Northampton? Jules, what's your call on that one on the handicap? Brady, what are your thoughts? Are you like the conductor? Are you sitting this one out?
Yeah, I am. I might go for points, because I think I've looked at the games they've been playing, and both teams are attacking well. If the weather is good, could be a good one, depending on the line. If it's too high and the weather is not great, Rodney Parade is good for it's good for unders, and I will need to look at the ref and the forecast. So at the moment, I'm not really interested in that game, frankly speaking.
Excellent. Well, guys, well done to all the guys in the live chat who've stayed with us. We're ticking over into our second hour now, but we're almost there. And don't forget, we got Couch Critics bets and the panel's best bets to come. Brady, I'm going to stay with you. The Leicester Tigers up against Connacht. Yes, Leicester, was it last week? They let me down. I was high on their points. They started off like a house on fire, and then I think they they hit the wall in the second half. I think that was the game. I bet on so many games last weekend. I can't be sure. The handicap here: Leicester minus 5.5 against Connacht.
Once again, you need the team news. Is Leicester going to bring their best squad, or are they going to rotate a bit because they haven't been rotating a lot recently? Connacht is going to bring the big guns, but they'll probably be missing Aki and one or two other players. Yeah, I'm staying out of that one. The Challenge Cup is very hard to read without team news. So
yeah, you
need them. You can make some assumption in the group stage. In the knockout phases, it's very complicated, especially when there is an English side playing, because don't forget that those English side, they still need to qualify for the next Ash Cup for next year, so they need to finish top 6, so priority to the championship. So yeah, I'll wait for the team news and I'll make a move if I have to make a move, but I don't feel anything on that one.
Yeah, no, fair enough. We can just give a little bit of guidance as to what to look out for in these games. Conductor, we'll go to you for the Leicester game and then finish off with you the Harlequins Ulster game. But Leicester minus 5.5.
Brent, as Brady says, I'm not sure in terms of, the full strength Leicesters are back heavily there. But if it's a weakened Leicester versus a full strength Connacht with Carty, I think he said Bundiki is out.
He's out.
John Porch, these kind of guys it could be a strong Connacht side there. I think the Challenge Cup is far more sort of variable in terms of player selection. I'm not sure how keen the guys are, etc. But I'd probably be leaning towards Connacht fielding a more strengthened side rather than Leicester. But it's all up to team selection there.
Right, final game then, Harlequins against Ulster, and here we got Harlequins favourites minus 3.5. Obviously, we don't have any team news yet, Conductor. Any guidance?
I know. I think if I'm correct, it's Ulster on the plus.
Yes, Ulster plus 3.5. Yeah.
Yeah, I quite like Ulster on the plus. I just it's a bit of a pity that Marcel Cassier is injured. That would have been a big plus to Ulster. But to me, one of the best sides in Ireland. Harlequins have been going great games, but I feel that the wheels may have been just tiring a little bit after the past couple of weeks. They've really been going great guns. Marla and the other prop, South African prop for Harlequins have really, and guys like Joe Marchant and Esther Hazen, they've really been grinding it out. It's been a hard couple of weeks. They've been playing incredible rugby, but I feel that Ulster, with a bit of a necessary rest, might just catch him off guard there, so I'll probably take off the Ulster. Once again, caveat is team news.
Right, last game for you then, Brady. Anything on that game? Any advice?
I'm got the same feeling as Conductor. You need the team news. If expect Ulster to go full squad, except from Kodze without. But if the Queens are going with the full squad, which they have done for the past few weeks, so I'm expecting a rotation there. But if they come fully, I think that's for me one of the best game of the weekend to watch, and it's Sunday night, so it's the best way to finish the weekend of rugby. That game is going to be a cracker if they've got their best team. So I think small advantage to Ulster because Queens could be a bit tired with all the games they've been playing recently. But the way they've been playing, Marcus Smith has been, fantastic. I don't even know why he's not in the English squad. They've been playing amazing rugby, and that could be a cracker game for Sunday night, and we could see some points there. So I'll wait for the team news. I'll wait for the points and the try once again. Hard to make a move here.
Well, watch the Good for the Game forum for any bets there on these games, especially once the team news comes out. Guys, I want to give you 20 seconds to gather your thoughts for the best bets while I run through Couch Critics best here, and we got this from Bet Olympia, of course, right on the Good for the Game website. So if you want to read his article and his logic, you can go on to goodforthegame.co.za and have a look at that. I just want to take this best bets banner down there. Right, we got these are Couch's bets in his articles. Crusaders against the Highlands tomorrow morning. John Laraki to score the first try, and Crusaders to win, and that he's getting at 18-1, 19.0 they say here, but I think that's related to that's in decimal, so 18-1. Last try scorer Wetu Douglas, and let me tell you, Couch Critics been on fine form with his first and last try scorers. He's 20-1. Cody Taylor to score 2 or more tries. That's at 7-1. The Blues Hurricanes game, they're the bets there. Anytime try scorer Tom Robinson, first try scorer Dan Coles, last try scorer Peter Umaga Jensen. The prices aren't up yet, so you'll have to check the Bet Olymp website for that. They'll have special prices. They do this especially for Couch Critic. Waratahs against the Brumbies. He's got last try scorer Lachlan Lonergan at 14s, and anytime try scorer Pete Samu. Rebels v Reds. He's got Brendan Payenga Mosa to score the first try, and the Reds to win at 22-1, and the last try scorer Filippo Daganu at 10-1. My pronunciation of the name's not great. They're conducted just quickly from your side. Anything that you really like that Couch Critic has highlighted there?
No, I like the anytime try scorer Tom Robinson there for the Blues, and Rebels versus Reds. Last try scorer Filippo Daganu. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, you can catch those, have a look at them in more detail on the Good for the Game website there. But let's get into the boys' best bets now. And Brady, I'll start with you. Feel free to give more than one best bet because there's just so much rugby this weekend. If you want, you can give one for each competition or something.
I think so. In the Super Rugby, I think Rebels plus will be the best move, followed by Crusaders over 16.5 halftime. And then in the European Cup, we don't have everything out, unfortunately, but for the games tomorrow night, I like the under 48.5 in Montpellier. I think that one is, I'm not an under punter, but I think that one is a good move.
Right, and let's get the conductors' best bets.
Best bets, Brent Rebels on the plus, and Cardiff Blues are actually straight on the board. I think I'll smoke the London Irish. I'm so sorry. I listened to the Welsh guys this week, and a lot of the English pundits and English coaches, and the difference is that when the Welsh guys play for their club, they don't play for their club; they play for Wales. Where I feel that the Irish guys play more for the club. So I feel that there's a good feeling back from the Six Nations win. So I'm very happy with Cardiff Blues there.
Excellent. Well, I've got a few bets I fancy this week. I do like the Rebels. I was initially on the Hurricanes plus, but I'm going to have a good think about it overnight. I'll be sending the newsletter out probably not too early tomorrow because they won't have anything on the first game then, and also it's a bit of a holiday. So we'll get that newsletter out. So if you haven't subscribed yet, do go down below the subscription box. First of all, thanks to all the guys who joined us in the live chat. As I say, one of the longest shows tonight. I actually didn't realize just how much rugby we had to get through. And then to the panel, first of all, conductor, well done on making it there, lad. We're not going to ask any of those New Zealand names now. I've got a feeling you won't pronounce them the same as you did at the start of the show. But you made it, and have a good rest tonight and get ready for some rugby punting.
Cheers, Benji. Thanks for the show. Thanks, guys. All the best. Enjoy the weekend.
Excellent. And Brady, great to have you back on the show. Please, the time zones are back now, so look forward to having your contributions in the weeks ahead. Great to have you back on.
Thank you very much, lads, and enjoy the weekend.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, everyone. You can join us next week, Thursday, for the Handicap Rugby Chat That Matters. And keep an eye on the Good for the Game forum and possibly also YouTube. We'll see. We might just do something for the Varsity Cup Rugby that gets going on a Sunday in a bio bubble of all things. Thanks, everyone, and have a cracking weekend.